welcome back to Eyes Open Media. It is December 2nd, 2018. Hope you guys are doing well. Like the video, subscribe, and share. And I'm looking at the numbers of the videos, and I'm like, it seems like someone went in and just shut 80% of my subscribers from watching my videos. That's what it seems like, because a lot of the videos that I'm doing right now, these types of videos that I'm doing right now for the dinar, always. I mean, you can go back in the channel and look at the views. They always get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 views. They're barely getting 2,000 views now. So someone went in there and just literally shadow banned me. But I'm hoping you guys are sharing the videos and are able to watch the videos. So I don't like to put videos out there that no one's watching. I mean, you know what I mean? That's just pointless to me. But anyways, let's get started. It talks about state law talking about Abdul Mahdi, his government, and will collapse this week if it does not achieve this. Okay, so basically what they're talking about is his cabinet, right? So we know that they're supposed to on Monday figure out the names for the cabinet, and they might leave the defense minister. That's what they were talking about. They might not come up with a conclusion with the defense minister by Tuesday, but they might do it by the end of the week. So, so that's what's going on. And Mahdi is supposed to announce the cabinet members on Tuesday. He might do the defense minister. He might not. I don't know. Okay. But that's what they're looking for. And then, of course, Wednesday is the day of mourning for George Bush Sr. In America. So, you know what I mean? So if we did see something on Tuesday, the next day things are closed for mourning. I know Wall Street's closed. I'm not sure if the banks are closed, but Wall Street's closed, right? So, and then Thursday you would be able to then go to the banks, right? If we saw something on Tuesday. If we don't, then we don't, right? So I'm not gonna be here to look for it every day. That's just not what I'm gonna be doing. Okay, I'm just gonna be reading the articles and keeping it moving. Okay, so I'm not here to look for an RV every day. Okay. So that's what Abdul Mahdi has to do. He has to complete his government. He has to complete his cabinet. Matter of fact. Okay. And so they're saying that if he doesn't complete his cabinet, they will lose confidence in him. It's the same thing we heard with all of the prime ministers. If they don't finish this at a Pacific time, we will lose confidence. We've heard this before. We heard it during Abadi. Abadi needs to finish his government, or we will lose confidence in him, and Maliki will take over again. Right? Remember that? So we've heard this before. It's nothing new. It's them trying to rush trying to rush it through, this thing should have already been done. But because there's corrupt people in Iraq and Iraq government, they want their particular person in there. They want somebody that's corrupt in there so they can continue their corruption. And the other parties are saying, no, we cannot do that any longer. We have to move on to actual technocrats and away from quota systems. So that's the fight right now. The fight is to make sure Abdul Mahdi only has technocrats in that government. So we'll see what happens on Tuesday if he keeps his word. Okay? Because if he doesn't, then here we go again, right? If we have the corrupt in there, the citizens might go crazy, right? The citizens might start protesting again, which they should. Okay, I'm not. I'm surprised the citizens are being quiet right now, right? Nothing has changed. Okay, so nothing has changed from Abadi to Abdul Mahdi. Nothing has changed so far. Okay, the only thing that's changed is they got their new the new 1,000 notes are out. That's it. Nothing has changed, and citizens are being quiet. Like I just that's not me. And the frustrating part is that I don't live over there. It's not my country. It's not me. I cannot force people to care about their future and their children's future. I can't. I can't do it. You know what I mean? What can we do? We talk online over a computer and it reaches thousands of people, but for me to sit here and tell people that are living in extreme poverty, and they're supposed to be wealthy, to get up, march, and not just march and protest, but demand, and then go in and demand forcefully your wealth back. Okay, it's ridiculous that I have to even say that. Like, everybody knows the Iraqis are supposed to have their oil revenues. It's in their constitution, right? They're supposed to have the oil revenues. They're supposed to have a legitimate currency. Everybody knows that. Iran knows that. Saudi knows that. Why all the countries in the Middle East know that? Why do they know that? Because their countries all have all their countries have the oil revenues. Their countries get the oil revenues, if there is any oil revenues to have, right? And their countries aren't on a program rates, right? Their currency, I mean, isn't on a program rate, and it's free, right? So only Iraq doesn't give the oil to the citizens, and they have a program rate currency. So they have trapped the citizens with a double punch in the face. Because number one, your currency is worthless, and number with a program rate on it. It's different that the currency was worthless on its own, but it's not. It's worthless because it's on a program rate, which is keeping it worthless, right? And then number two, you're not giving the citizens their oil revenues, which is part of the Constitution, that you would give the citizens their oil revenues. You give Kurdistan region their oil revenues. You barely do that. Baghdad barely gives the Kurdistan region their oil revenues. So goodness gracious, to give the citizens, oh my God, that'll be even harder, right? That's how corrupt they are, right? So that's what they're dealing with. But everybody in that region knows that the citizens should be getting their oil revenues. Everybody in that region, and this is the messed up part, is because they hold meetings, they hold Arab meetings. Okay, these people hold Arab meetings, and they know that the Iraqi citizens are not getting the oil revenues according to the Constitution, and they don't even tell Iraq to make sure the citizens are getting the oil revenues. Isn't that crazy? They go to these meetings, these Middle East meetings, to make sure all countries are abiding by the rules of the Middle East that they've put together. But yet they know the Iraqis are supposed to receive the oil revenues, and not one person in those meetings say, Iraq, you will. Not even the United Nations. Iraq, you will, right now, starting today, you will be forced to give your citizens the oil revenues. Now, nobody, right? America just came out 2 weeks ago, and I did the video on it, to say, hey, Iraq, you must distribute the wealth to your citizens. And they still haven't done it 2 weeks later. They don't care. And that's the problem, right? That's the problem we're facing. They don't care. And if they don't care, then there's nothing I can't do nothing about it. You can't do nothing about it. We're not there. The citizens have to care for themselves to get up and go and demand forcefully what is theirs. Point blank and simple. And if the government doesn't do it, the citizens take the government out. Point blank. Right? That's how they're supposed to do it. And the military should be behind the citizens, because guess what? The military men and women in Iraq don't get their oil revenues too. So how you going to look hurting the citizens or protecting the government that doesn't even pay you your oil revenues? This is why the Iraqi military is always down with the Iraqis. Because even when they were doing all that war stuff, and the citizens were protesting, the Iraqi military was usually, I know sometimes some things happen, but usually they were protecting the citizens at all costs, because they know the citizens and themselves are not receiving what's supposed to be theirs, a free currency with positive value, like everybody else in their area, except for Iran. But Iran's on sanctions. Iran is under sanctions. Iraq's not under sanctions. Okay, so yeah, man, it's just messed up. But it's more messed up that the citizens are allowing it to happen as well. And it's just what it is, man. I can't do nothing about it, guys and girls. sit back and I sit back and amazed that all these prophetic words have come through. All the dreams that I've had, all of the dreams that you guys have had about this investment, all of the prophetic words about this investment, and yet we still sit right here like nothing has changed. And it's very it will drain you. I tell you that much. It will drain you. It's not draining me, you know, because I took a year off. You know what I mean? I took that year off, man, and oh, it's almost a year off, right? I took almost a year off, and so I got the power and the patience and the fight in me. You know what I mean? Because I took that long time off, and it was a really good time off. So, anyways, let's continue. And so let's see what Abdul Mahdi does this week, right? Um, okay, so let's see. Okay, so it says the finance committee, the auction currency is a big door for the smuggling of funds abroad. Okay, so these guys are coming out and saying the same things over and over and over again. with no change. So here's another guy who comes out from the finance committee who comes out and talks about the auctions again. The same auctions that everybody knows is being used, including Donald Trump, right? Including Xi Jinping, including the United Nations, and everybody knows around the world that the currency auctions in Iraq are being used to smuggle, including the Ali Alak. So because this thing is still happening and Ali Alak is the governor of the central bank, he needs to be held accountable for this because there's no reason why he knows about the smuggling of currencies during the auctions and we still have the auctions. And the reason why we still have the auctions is because they don't want to change, they don't want to revalue the currency. Right? So they allow the smuggling and the criminal activity to go on the auctions because they don't want to revalue the currency, right? And no one's saying that you have to revalue it to 1 to 1. Why don't you just put it at 1 cent and stop the auctions? But they won't do it, right? So we need to look at Ali a lot because he's the one that's allowing the currency auctions to continue and to allow the criminal activity to continue. We also need to look at Donald Trump because Donald Trump knows that the criminal activity is still going on in the Middle East in the currency auctions, and he hasn't done anything about it as well. The U.S. Treasury hasn't done anything. The IMF still hasn't done anything about it. The BIS hasn't done anything about it. Kuwait hasn't done anything about it, right? They owe Kuwait money, right? So like, give me my money. Like you guys are making billions of dollars off the currency auction by manipulating and smuggling and doing all types of false activity, but you guys can't pay us back or you know what I mean, that what you owe us yet. If I'm Kuwait, I'm like, yo, something's wrong with that. You know what I mean? So here you guys are worth 70 billion illegally, but you guys can't pay us back. And that's another thing. A lot of people think that Iraq needs to pay Kuwait back fully before we see anything happen. And so far, they're right? Because we haven't seen anything happen, and they still owe Kuwait like $4 billion or something like that. Like they could pay that money like right now if they want to. I don't know why they still wait. They're paying Kuwait little by little by little. I'm not. I think they owe Kuwait $4 billion. I could be wrong. It could be more than that. It could be less than that. I don't know what's left on there. I thought it was $4 billion that they have left, which they could pay Kuwait right now. They choose not to, and maybe it's a strategy to continue to delay. Oh yeah, we have to continue to delay the currency because we still owe Kuwait, right? It could be a tactic that they're using as well. Okay, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but so some of you guys have stated in the past that they need to completely pay Kuwait before we see anything. So that maybe not. I don't know. Okay, I don't know because I don't know the agreements behind. I don't know the secret agreements behind the scenes on the Kuwait payments. Okay, I know one thing. Kuwait said, "Don't worry about it. Just lift your value." Remember that? Remember Kuwait was like, "Man, just lift your value. Don't worry about it. We'll get it back. We'll get it back with oil and the revalue and your revalue currency. Just lift your value. We have dinars. Lift your value." And they didn't want to do that either. Now they did say they're going to start paying Kuwait in oil in 2019. So maybe they're going to not pay them anymore in hard currency, but they're going to pay them back in oil. So, and Donald Trump wanted to get in on that as well. Remember? So Donald Trump wanted to get in and get paid, reimbursed for the war in oil as well in 2019 as well. And they were like, no. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes. Well, they called it a dictatorship because he wanted the revenues in oil for the war, and they called it. They're not going to be, they don't reply to dictators or something like that. I don't know what that was all about. But anyways, we know that they're going to pay the Kuwait in oil in 2019, and I'm trying to think. They had plans for the citizens as well, but we know how that's gone. And the citizens apparently don't care because they haven't done anything about it. Okay, and remember, Saleh was holding all those rallies. Remember all those rallies Saleh was holding with the citizens? Has he held a rally ever since? Nope, he hasn't, has he? Good old Sauter. Oh, yeah, that was Sauter. Did I say Saleh? No, it was Sauter. Sauter, right? Yeah. I'm not sure if I said Sauter or not. It's been a long day, man. Okay, here is Maliki. Now, how is Maliki still getting into these buildings, by the way? He doesn't have any, he's not part of the government. He's an ex-prime minister, ex-vice president. He shouldn't have any credentials to be able to get into buildings and talk to these people unless he's still the head in charge. Like Abadi said yesterday, right? Abadi said there's a small group of people that have been bought out that are still in charge. So basically what happens is these people like Maliki are not in the, they don't, they hold, they might hold a vice president position or maybe no position, but that's, in front of the camera. But behind the camera, they're actually still the prime minister. They're in the shadow government. Okay, that's what they call it. Remember, Mark Taylor said Obama has set up in D.C. a shadow government to Donald Trump. This is why you're seeing all of these attacks against Donald Trump, because Obama has a shadow government behind the scenes, and he's pulling the strings on a lot of the media and all these things and all these people and they're paying off these people to come after Donald Trump. And that's why we're seeing all these attacks on Donald Trump. So the same thing's going on over here, where Maliki has set up a shadow government behind the scenes. And Abadi told us about that yesterday, that small groups of people are running and pay people off to shut up and stay quiet, and not do anything about it. And these people run the government. So he wasn't running the government. This is why Abadi said, I want out. Okay, I want out. I don't want to be prime minister anymore because I have no power. And that's the key. He had no power. Abadi had no power to do nothing. He was just a speaking head puppet. And behind the scenes, Maliki and his goons were running everything. This is why he couldn't do nothing for the citizens. Okay, so that's what's going on. And thank God in America we have the opposite. In America, we have Obama in D.C. running a shadow government with the United Nations, and we have Trump in office, and Trump is not their puppet. You know what I mean? Now he might be, behind the scenes, everybody's cordial because they're in the same bloodline, but in front of the camera, we have Trump who can get things done. Right? Who can do executive orders, who can create laws, who can do all this stuff, who can stop the invasion of at the borders, who can do all this stuff, who can keep your guns in your hands. All that stuff Donald Trump is doing, right? But it was the opposite in Iraq. Abadi was out there, but he couldn't do nothing. And that's why we saw nothing from Abadi, except for the liberation of ISIS. And that even took way longer than we all expected, because we were all thinking like, okay, the liberation of ISIS from Iraq, that should take 3 months or less. We're talking about American troops, we're talking about German troops, French troops, Chinese troops, Russian troops. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about we're talking about Iranian pro the Iranian troops that were pro Iraq. Okay, and we're talking about the baddest Kurdistan region troops. Right? This will be 3 months, and it drew out for like what, a year and a half. And they kept stopping and stopping and stopping it. And who was stopping it? Abadi, because he was being told by Maliki and them to shut it down and keep it going, keep it going, keep it going as long as you can. And that's what happened, right? And then they finally did it. They finally liberated. And it took forever to liberate these people. Okay, so that's what happened behind this. That was going on in front of the cameras and behind the scenes. And Abadi let us know that in that article. And he was like, that's why he said, I don't want to be prime minister because I have no power. Okay, and people were trying to figure that out. Why does Abadi doesn't want to be prime minister? Because he had no power and he was tired of being a puppet. Okay, and that's what happened, man. And so that's what happens around the world. You got these people that are in charge, but they have no power. You think they have power, but they have no power. And so here they are. Here's Saleh talking to Abadi, talking to Maliki, talking to Hakim, all the people that control Iraq. And the reason why Iraq is in the position it is because of all those people you just saw. They don't want the citizens to have their wealth because they believe that if the citizens have their wealth, the citizens are coming after them. Okay. Um, and yeah. It says member of wisdom. It says Abdul Mahdi will nominate names for interior and defense. Now, is that on Tuesday as well? Or what? What date is that? I don't know. I don't see it on here. It just says he will do it sometime this week. So we will see. We'll see if they miss another Tuesday or not. I know one thing. If there's not the names that Maliki and Ameri and the people controlling the government, controlling parliament, if it's not the people that they want to put in, they're gonna create havoc and chaos, and they're gonna have to, maybe go on a 2 hour break and then come back, and maybe they're gonna have to hold them out from parliament and then go quickly and vote. Oh my God, you know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. It's just crazy. These people have no positions in government, but yet they're allowed in parliament. It's unbelievable. I mean, imagine that. Imagine you, right, having no position in the government, in Congress. You're not a senator. You're not a House representative. You're not a president. You're not a speaker. You're nothing, and you're able to come into Congress and stop things from being voted on. You're able to go into Congress and create havoc and hell. Like no, you would be in prison. Like, so these people have no positions in the government, and yet they're able to continue, like Abadi said, behind the scenes. They are the puppet masters, right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable what's going on. And that's why Abadi doesn't even want that. Abadi rejected the vice president position. He also rejected the foreign minister position. He's like, I'm done with that. I'm just gonna be the head of the is it the Victory or Wisdom? I keep getting those two. I think it's Victory. I'm gonna be the head of Victory coalition, and I'm gonna be the leader of the he's the leader of the some troops. I don't know what military brigade is that. I'm not sure which one it was, but he's the leader of that one now. So he's got those positions, and he's fine with that. I'm guessing from right now. Okay, it says parliamentary finance reveals a move to install all contracts. Okay, and now these are employee contracts, right? So it says install all contract employees in all governments. Okay, pretty cool there. So they're gonna do that. Um, what else here? It says reports of the numbers of casualties last month the lowest since 2012. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of deaths last month. That was pretty good. Parliament receives the buy and basically the history of the candidates that are coming in that they have to pick for accountability and justice. Okay. So let's see what happens on Monday. Let's see if they can get in there and get some names done and pick the people they have, and then hopefully the prime minister can come in there on Tuesday and announce the names of the new members. And if he can't, then hopefully by the end of the week he has something. They get something done. They shouldn't drag this on any longer. Um, and also the Kurdistan government is trying to activate the presidency of the region as well. We know it's going to be a Barzani, regardless of who it is. It's going to be a Barzani, so it really doesn't matter. It could be, they could reinstate the father again. They could have this, maybe it's one of the brothers or whatever the case, but it's going to be a Barzani. Will Iraq soon begin funding its own stabilization? So it says here the United Nations Secretary General meet with Food Hassani, Iraq's Minister of Finance. Okay, and they talked about Baghdad may soon begin contributing to the UNDP's stabilization program in Iraq. Okay, so how much are they going to be paying out and contributing to the UNDP? Who knows? Okay, who knows? But it is what it is. You remember, United Nations is going broke, and so the one thing they would love is a change in value, right? And we said that last year. They were demanding that Iraq put in the oil and gas law. They were demanding for Article 140, and the reason why they were demanding for it because they were cash strapped, and they're probably still cash strapped today. Okay, and so the one thing they would love is for Iraq to return to the international stage with a viable currency, right? So they could be able to exchange that and save themselves. But it is what it is. So I've talked enough. I'll let you guys go. So that's what's going on in Iraq. That is some history of Iraq and where we are today. And it's pretty sad, man. It's pretty sad. You can sit over here in a different country and realize that the people, they don't care as much as you do, and it's it's pretty bad, right? Like they don't care. They don't care. They don't care as much as we do, right? So, and it's their life. At some point, they have to care, right? And we said this before. They have to care. And last time I said that, it was probably, I'm not sure, it was last year or the year before. They actually got up and started protesting. So maybe somebody sent the video to them or something. I don't know, but I remember saying this back in the day, and they got up and started protesting in Tyree Square. So I expect the same thing. I expect somebody to send this video to Iraqis, and they get together and start caring. Okay, so I want to see them care. I want to see them, rush the green zone or demand things and actually care about their future and their children's futures at some point. Okay, and I'm hoping it's this December. I'm hoping that they go in there and they actually care, and because of that, Abdul Mahdi being so new, this is the perfect time to do it because Abdul Mahdi being so new, he'll probably lose his mind and he'll probably just give them whatever they want because he's new to this, right? Abadi didn't see protesting until like 2 years in, right? So he was already used to being a prime minister. This is when the citizens need to go in as hard as they can go because Abdul Mahdi is still trying to put his cabinet together. Like he'll be scared out of his mind. He'll probably run to Ali keywords at the CBI and say, "Do what you have to do." So this is the time. This is the best time to hit Abdul Mahdi in the mouth right now. So citizens, let's go. Let's get up and let's go. So I'm hoping this week we see that. I'm hoping this week the citizens go crazy and Abdul Mahdi just gives in immediately because he has no clue how to handle that because he hasn't been in office that long. All right, talk to you guys later. Like, subscribe, and share, and eyes open. Bye.